Pew. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you. So I want to say welcome to everybody. And of course, Happy New Year. Today is Epiphany. So I always love doing these events on Epiphany. Very meaningful. Anyway, I am super happy to have you here today for the New Way to Vision Board workshop. Now, I do know some of you have been joining me since 2021 for my annual Vision Board Challenge. But for those of you who are new to vision boarding with me, welcome. My name is Colette Reed. For those of you who are wondering who the heck I am, I've been working in the world of metaphysics and the intuitive arts full-time for over 37 years. And in this amount of time, I have 19 best-selling Oracle card decks and 8 books on personal transformation, and I've got more of both in the works. I am a published artist, also a former recording artist, and I live and breathe what I am teaching here today. So this is my 5th year hosting a vision board event at the beginning of the year with Hay House. And I've led hundreds of thousands of people through this process. And it works. I know it works. I have done, actually, this is the 40th year of vision boards. I've done 40 well, I actually done more than 40, but I've done 40 vision boards. So I know how this works. I know how it doesn't work. And I've always been looking for ways to improve the process. Are you saying hi, Mark? No, wait, that's not time yet. He's going to go ahead. Come and say hello since you're coming here. Come here.
All right. Hello, everybody.
That's the husband unit.
That's a husband unit. That's right. The unit.
And that is our vision board. You may as well show them because we'll show them again later. That's, I think, from 5 years ago. Yeah. Okay, whatever. I couldn't find, yeah, okay. I couldn't find any of the other ones. We have them in one of our sheds, but anyhow, thank you, baby. Each year I ask myself, what else could there be? Am I missing something? I always like to evolve what I've taught and what I've learned. So I bring in what I've learned, and then I challenge myself with discovering new ways to teach it to you and new ways to see how it works for me first, because I want to prove it first before I teach it. So a couple of years ago, when I was reviewing my own personal vision board, I asked myself, well, where are the limits to this board? Mark, can you come back and show the board?
The board again?
Yes, because I kind of need you. Sorry, his desk is way on the other end of the room. Okay, see this board here? This was actually, so yeah, this was
Vanna White here.
Vanna White, thank you, darling. This is the board, right? So this is one of them anyway. See, now I just want you to pay attention to what this looks like, right? See this border? I used to always teach how important the border was. Thank you, darling.
Okay.
Okay, I won't ask you again.
Yeah, you just have to.
I can just turn around and get it now, okay? He put it too far away. Okay. So the border, I started learning about these types of vision boards 40 years ago, like for real, 40 years ago. When I got sober, I started going to Unity Church. So I'm 40 years sober. And at Unity Church, that was the first thing that I learned, that we could do these really cool artistic collages to create reality, right? To work with the universe, etc. Just in short. And the border was always the thing that I taught, I learned from them first, right? So if you looked at that, you realize the border is a stopping point. The border is asking the universe to deliver what is inside of it. Nothing wrong with this board, by the way. All my boards were like this until a couple of years ago, right? Nothing wrong with it, other than that center focus on spirit to remind me of all the activity that goes on in the invisible quantum field, in what I now call the zone of synchronicity. Because the field of potentiality exists outside the borders in a bigger way than it does inside. Now, I'm going to tell you a lot more about this as we go, but I just needed you to understand why I changed how I teach it and what I discovered once I did that. Because I had always found that understanding the container, right, the container around desired outcomes was really important, because the way I learned it, the way I taught it, was we were putting a container around our desired outcomes to signal to the universe that, hey, inside here is this as yet invisible intentions, I'm saying to the universe, what is inside this border is the desired outcome that I want to co-create. I want to manifest this. So, but I'm going to ask you something right now too. If you've ever done this before and you think back on it, everything that has come to you has never come to you exactly like it's on the board. It's come to you through synchronicities, right? If you really think about it, meaningful coincidences and synchronicities, even though the exact thing can come and can show up, it doesn't show up the way you think it will. So I started wondering, really just a couple of years ago, because I started thinking things differently. And I also am a total nerd, so I was looking into a lot of the science behind manifestation. And I thought, okay, but where is the space for the things that I wasn't expecting? There's no space for that in the traditional board. So although I still did well with those boards, trust me on this, like they manifested, but I always scratched my head about like, oh, how weird was that? And how cool was that? And this is really interesting. And then I asked, but what if there was something even better for me than what I was inspired to put on the board? Because that has happened for me over the years. And I never had space for that on the board. All the cool, interesting surprises that weren't what I put on, that I kind of just, well, it wasn't on the board, so it didn't count, but it happened anyway. So I thought, but that's so important. One of the most important pieces that has been missing all this time. That's my experience. It's been my opinion. And now that I've done it enough times and I've done smaller ones and I've tested it with students, I know it works. And so I realized that we have to make space. So for those of you who are brand new to vision boarding, just so you know, right, this is really visual representation that we create so that it acts as an intermediary between what is seen and known and what is unseen and not yet manifest. And it's an anchor point for our attention. So let's just give it to you like that. And what I showed you was something I used to do. So I want to go back to the conversation about synchronistic activities. So when you think about that, and I want you to think about that in your life too, what about all of those synchronistic activities, right? Think about the things that the universe was moving on your behalf, on my behalf. So when I was looking at making a new way to vision board, I thought, well, could I put something on the board to remind me of that? Given that I'm always broadcasting the frequency of my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that have an impact on what's inside that border. And by the way, too, I'll show you this. I'm shamelessly self-promoting my book right now. So The Art of Manifesting describes all of this, by the way. If you haven't got The Art of Manifesting yet, there's a whole section in there that'll really help you understand this and really make you want to do it. Okay, so when we think about the fact we're broadcasting our thoughts, feelings, beliefs that are repetitive and that are strong, right? Those are the things when we look at the board, that's why we do it. We're like, oh, I feel so good. That is mine, blah, blah, blah. But often what happens, beyond that is that's all we focus on because we don't give space enough for those things that we don't know yet. So the question I ask myself, well, how can I go beyond those perceived limits? We do want a container. We absolutely do. We want to say, hey, in here is what I know. Well, I know. But out there is what you know, universe, better than me. I couldn't have conceived in it at all. Right? So if I added that then becomes part of the dynamic relationship that you and I can have with the conscious universe that is our partner in manifestation. It's our partner. Right? So when we look at that, right, when all of a sudden then we can trust that something is going on outside of what we think we already know, okay? And once I figured out how to do that, and I did, I realized that it was time to evolve our vision boards once again. And this is why we're here today, because I am so incredibly excited to share this with you. In the next 2 hours, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to share my tried and true steps to creating a vision board. Now, some of which you've heard before, and it bears repeating. And listen, I did the same repetitive thing every year for 40 years, right? Although in the past 2 years, I changed it. But if you've ever joined me for my vision board challenge, you know I'm going to guide you through a unique spirit-led creative process. And I want to help you bring your visions to life this year and remind you of who is really in charge. Who is large and in charge? Well, it's not really you and it's not me. There is a partner, a vast universe that we are in partnership with that lives inside us. We are part of it. It is part of us. And we are always engaged in this dynamic relationship. It's not us in a tiny little me bubble thinking of what we think. It is once we set the intention to be in that partnership, all of a sudden, wow. And we start really noticing it. So today's event is just a taste of my new manifesting methodology. And I'll be talking a lot about that this year. I had my beautiful book coming out that came out in September. And it is enough to get you started with this new way to approach your own manifesting this year. It's already out, as I said, and I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm just checking my notes over here. If you actually could see this, I have 4 computers in front of me, and I'm kind of like squirrel. Anyhow, so what I'd love you to do right now is grab some paper to take notes and grab a sheet of paper or a journal and a pen or fine liner marker for our creative process that we're going to be doing in the next couple of hours. And just bring an open mind and an open heart. And we want you to start thinking about what you want to call into your life in 2026. I wonder if I have the wrong thing up here. Elizabeth, can you let me know? But I think I'm just going to go with it. Okay. So let us start. Why we're shifting gears today and embracing a fresh approach to vision boards. I know many of you did it last year with me and saw that it worked. I know we got an amazing, I saw a testimonial today of somebody saying how it blew their minds and made them cry when they realized, just how it changed their entire perspective of how to work with vision boards. And here we go. So I'm, again, not challenging the old school way. Like, we're not saying it's bad or wrong, but everything can evolve, right? We're in agreement. Everything needs to evolve. I think so, Elizabeth. And everything can evolve and everything can be evolved because we evolve. We have to evolve beyond the limitations of the way we think. And I know this works. How about that? So what I'd love to talk to you about today is a card. Like, let's talk about the card. I pulled a card actually as I was waiting for you guys to come on, and I said, I asked for myself first, and then I got the exact same card when I asked for you, so I thought this might be useful for me to talk about. So I pulled a card, as I always do before we start, like, what do I need to know to help these guys in the best way possible, and how to co-create their vision board, and that's going to work for them. And that's my thing, was about teaching it. And then I pulled, what do you need to know? And the same card came up for both of us. So I'm going to share with you about the card, and it's called the Higher Power. So this card, Higher Power. Hi, everybody. I can't see the chat, but I know you're chatting because I can see. Just send me hearts if you let. So what does this mean? So the Higher Power represents, hang on one sec, sorry about this. Elizabeth, you're going to have to send this. Yes. So the Higher Power card represents the power greater than us that exists as our partner, and for us not to forget that our wants and that our vision for our lives is relatively limited. We think we know the things we want to acquire, the achievements we desire, and stuff we think that will bring us happiness in some form. And as I said before, nothing wrong with that, but the Higher Power cards is all about our connection to spirit, the conscious universe, God, whatever it is you like to call the intelligence that is greater than you, that is always there for you as this partner. So it's always going to be on your board. So that was the one thing, like, remember to tell them to put spirit, something to do with spirit, on the board. Really, really important, right? Because ultimately that is going to be the most important piece is that we say, okay, spirit is at the core and the center. My intention is to be in partnership with spirit. Does that make sense to everybody? More hearts. I can only see the hearts. Okay. Makes sense, right? Yeah. So when we have our partnership with spirit, we know that we can surrender our wants over so that we're not doing all the legwork. We have to do the next right action. We always have to do, but they're micro actions. They're not doing all the work. I know somebody actually said to me yesterday that when we were talking about how excited I was that I was starting this again today, and she said, yeah, it's so weird. So many people are already exhausted because they think they haven't changed their life in the first 5 days of the year. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so not what we want. We want to know that we're not alone, right? And that's one of the reasons I do this. Like 30,000 people signed up for this, by the way. So that's a lot of people that want to be part of this. So when we do it together as a group, we're also focusing on this sense that we are all in this partnership. We're all an intrinsic part of the universe. The universe is in us and we're in it. And so therefore we have to acknowledge that. So that's why that's one of the things that we are going to be putting on our board. And so never forget that, because a lot of times what happens is that when people create a vision board or you're even thinking about manifesting in general, you get tired because you think it hasn't happened soon enough because you had timetables, right? The way it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to look, all of those things can come to you in a completely different way, and you might miss it. So the something beyond the limitations of a vision board or even the concept of manifestation is that many of us forget that the higher power is the most important piece. We are definitely important, 1000%, because the universe uses us to experience itself in form in the outer world. We are basically emissaries of divine will. That's what I believe. Now, you can use different language if you want, that you are here to co-create the world. And how much attention you place to something is going to be really important. So what if, again, I'm going to ask this question. What if there's something beyond the limitations of the board you've created in the past, or the thoughts that you have about what you think you want, right? What if, I'm just going to switch over here. Yes. Okay. Yes, he did, Elizabeth. That's great. So again, what if there's something beyond this concept? And we need you to know right now that there is. Right. And if you really think hard about your manifestation experiences in the past and really got super honest, likely, you see synchronicity, which these meaningful coincidences that you didn't set in motion, right? Because you might have surrendered it and forgotten about it, and then boom, there it is. It's very rarely, like even my husband and I, how we met, he dated tall, skinny, blonde models. I dated dark, swarthy, bad boys. And we met and it was perfect. It was the universe put us together and we were like, oh, so you're actually my type, right? So, but I never would have thought of that. I would have looked for something else, right? Same with him. We laugh now. It's we're just perfect for each other. But I wanted a good relationship, but what I thought in my head it was going to look like is not what it looked like. And thank God, this was so much better. So I really want you to think about that before we move forward with this idea. When you actually create the vision board, you want space. You want to make sure that there is space for the surprise. And that has to be part of the board. And why? It's because you're going, okay, I do believe that right here in front of me, right here in front of me is what I think I'm manifesting. Why not, right? Don't not do that, right? Of course, you're limited. I think it's going to come like this. And then you realize, okay, well, I think I know what it is, but spirit might have a better idea. So I'm going to add that into the vision board. So when I focus on that possibility, also not be surprised by the possibility. You get what I mean? It's I'm adding that in as part of it. You take your blinders off right away. Because if you didn't do that, you wouldn't always recognize what's in front of you, or you think it's wrong, or it didn't work, because you are caught up in the form of what you think you want, and you miss what's staring you in the face. I told you about the must-haves and when it came to a relationship, but the best part about when I met my husband, again, I expected him to be dark-haired, and I expected him to be either Moroccan or Italian or whatever, not Dutch, and blonde, and dark-eyed, right? And all of a sudden, they're the perfect person I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even speak when I said I saw him. I'm like, oh, right? It was like, that's not what I expected at all. And I might not have gone. I might not have gone on that first date. It's because it's like, oh, he didn't tick off those boxes. And I didn't tick off any of his boxes either, FYI, right? So, right? So I'd love for you to add that in the chat if you've had experiences where you believed you wanted one thing, but the better thing showed up for you. That was amazing, right? So I'm sure some of you have some stories that you like to just, right? I'm looking at it here, right? Yes, look, you're going all say yes, 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 right? So that's important. You're all saying yes. So I think what's super important, hi, darling, it's all good. It's
all good.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So I'm just having to squint to look at your things in here, right? So I really got, before I tell you, show you how to do this, it's so important for you to understand it, right? And that this is such an important piece that no one's ever taught. And when I finally did it, I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what I want. I want to be surprised. It's like this here inside this border, definitely. It's what I think I know. And based on what I know. It's based on what I think is available to me. But I'm going to also let a big space be all about what's better, that things I haven't even thought of, so I don't miss them, right? You don't want to miss them. Would you like to share something, Mark?
Yeah.
My husband wants to share something.
Let's go into a meditation.
Want to do a meditation? Okay. So yes, can I just finish my thought and then we can do a meditation? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what I thought I would love you to do right now, all of us, is I want us to get into that zone of appreciation for the unknown. Okay. And both are important. What I think I know I want, let that be true. Even if it's an amount of money, if it's a relationship, if it's a job, but we're going to get into the feeling state, or if it's just the way you want to feel, let that be true, because there's going to be more about feeling later. But let's also close our eyes and imagine when we are in absolute awe and gratitude for when the most amazing different thing happens that meets the thing we thought we wanted. It gives us that and more. So let's allow ourselves the opportunity right now. So let's close our eyes and just breathe and imagine. And put your hand on your heart. And just imagine and let yourself play with it. Let's play with the possibilities. And you've already experienced this at least once in your life. It could even be around a pet. I remember I didn't want another pet, and I had sold my Harleys when I was 60, and a friend of mine sends me a picture of a puppy born on my birthday. I sold all my Harleys on my birthday, and her name was Harley. And she sent me a picture, and I sent it to Mark and said, please say no, please say no. And he said, I can't. And she became Tinkerbell. So best thing we did, right? It's like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So like the surprises that come to us because we are feeling that partnership with Spirit, because we trust it. And I know it's so hard in a world of chaos to trust. But we have to see beyond that. We need to recognize that chaos and uncertainty is in its own box. Let it be there. We're not going to try to change it. We're not saying it isn't there. But we don't want to focus on that. That's like a whole thing. We get to focus on something else. So I'm going to ask you now to really imagine how you want to feel in 2026. Let's actually talk about this year coming, because it is a universal 1 year. It is a 1 year. So we are having a new beginning. But remember, we've already done a lot of work up until now. So we're not starting completely from scratch. You have to honor where you are. And wherever you begin is perfect. I can take it from here, Mark. It's just perfect. Let's focus on the feeling. So often, people don't really want the car, or the house, or the relationship. They want the feeling they believe those things will give them. I don't know what that means.
Are you ready to come out of the
Yes. Sorry. We're out of the meditation now. Okay, so the feeling. When I met Mark, I had known to focus on the feeling, but I was still very attached to how I wanted something to look. I knew I wanted to feel a certain way. I actually used to visualize holding the hand of the man that would be for me. Now, I'm giving you something very specific because it actually happened, right? I did a whole vision board around it, but I was very, very sure, because I had gotten a lot of, I kissed a lot of frogs to get to the prince. Let's just put it that way. But I realized that what I wanted was more about how I wanted to feel about myself with that person, but also how they felt for me. I wanted him to be really self-respecting. And there was some things that I never put on the list before that. It was much more about respect, mutual respect. Yeah, it was just kind of like, I wanted one day that we would be like old shoes. We are 24 years later, right? So I want you to also ask yourself, well, why do I want the things I say I want, right? Is it peace? Is it security? Is it love? Is it confidence? Is it freedom? Is it joy? Is it a reputation? And in whatever it is, it's perfect. It's really perfect. Right? But remember, when you create your vision board, when you create the actual board, this piece that we're talking about right now has to happen before you put the pen to paper. Right? Like, again, I used to joke about when I was still doing the stickers, those things like, what if the universe has bigger plans than what you could picture with scissors and glue, right? Now I don't do scissors and glue anymore, but I just draw it very simply. If you know how to doodle, you can make a vision board on a small piece of paper. So again, the whole world of opportunities waiting for you outside the edges of that board. The edges of my board was that Mark was in the edges of that board, and he did not meet a lot of what I thought I wanted in the inside part, what I thought was so important. And he came perfect for me. Right? Not perfect, right? Mark, you're not perfect, but well, he's perfect for me, right? But these are things that you couldn't imagine, right? That's what you have to remember, that's what Spirit has in mind for us. It's not about what we acquire, what we get. And I think deep down, we all know that's true, right? We know there is a field of unlimited potential, like a living, intelligent energy, always conspiring on our behalf, right? And how many times has this happened to you? You wanted something specific, you didn't get that exact thing. But what you did get turned out to be even better, more aligned, more authentic, and exactly what you needed. And it didn't take away difficulties. I think that's the other thing. When people come to learn how to do vision boards, they think then they're not going to have any problems in their life, right? Life on life's terms is going to be different. That isn't true. This doesn't give us control over the outer world. This gives us a portal to get into alignment with what's invisible in the field of potential that we can call into reality, right? There's a very different thing. We align with it. We become the version of ourselves that can have that life. And it is an amazing, amazing thing once you figure this out. And I figured it out for you, so you don't have to. So I'm just going to teach you how to do it. So everything, again, that you've ever manifested has been delivered to you this way, right? So let's talk about the actual board. I'm just going to double check about Elizabeth has anything to say to me. No. Okay. As soon as we place something on the vision board, we are saying, this is my intention. I am now Elizabeth. This is my intention. This is my reality. This is what I'm manifesting. And that is powerful. And like I said before, it could limit us because we often get attached to the exact form, the specific pictures, words, ideas we put on there. And again, don't have space for the highest expression of that desire. Spoiler alert, sometimes the road to your highest good involves a few twists and turns and getting nauseous on a boat on the stormy sea. So if we're fixated only on how we think it's supposed to look, like the exact picture, and I actually got really caught up in that and myself over the years. I remember my first husband looked exactly like the guys that I put on the vision board, like exact. It's like I found all these pictures of a similar guy that I put it up, and he showed up in my life. I went, well, you're on the board, so you must be the guy. But it was not the best experience, although it was, because it prepared me for the marriage I have today. But I think the thing is that if we actually create resistance within us when the universe offers us something different, something better, right? And we might miss it because we're still looking for the one in the picture, right? Right? Like, I think that's really important for us all to acknowledge and to recognize that sometimes you also get exactly what you asked for, but it still doesn't feel the way you expected. So I want to know if anybody had that happen. You got exactly the thing that you put on, but it really didn't feel like exactly how you wanted it. It happened, right? Many times, right? Who talks about this? Nobody. Okay. Right? This is it. This is my dream come true. That when I finally got my record deal years ago, I thought, this is it. I manifested this. This is like fabulosity. And it made me so insecure. I had so many lessons about who I really was. And thank God I didn't get it any earlier. But that was a dream I held for 20 years and I obsessively chased it. But of course, I got everything I wanted from this career that was going on, but I thought that was the one. And oh my goodness, when I got everything that I wanted and everything that was on all those boards, every single thing, including the name of the record company, everything, it wasn't for me. I wanted the feeling of creative freedom, confidence, and purpose. I didn't get it from that at all. I got it from this. Isn't that wild? So it's like, you may get what you think you want, but then you have to ask yourself, is this how I want to feel? And that's why we get disappointed, or and it's something we don't talk about because it's like, well, I did manifest it, but I'm kind of screwed up about it. So it's really important that we release the need for our chosen manifestation to appear in a certain way and the form, right? Because when you trust that what you want will show up in its highest form, you allow the universe to bring it to you in the way it's meant to and in the form it's meant to. So even though we're visual people and we want to place images, and I know some of you are still going to want to do a collage type vision board, but the template that I'm showing you today, which you can use again afterwards, I'm basically hoping today you're going to use it more as a blueprint for the actual board you're going to create. But we're going to lean into the feeling of what you want instead of the thing. And then we're going to trust that it will show up when and how it's meant to. And that is where the new approach sets in. So I'm going to have some water. Yes, I get it. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. I have the best team. Can I just shout out to my team that makes all of this possible? I mean, 30,000 people is a freaking lot of people. And I think only 20,000 showed up today, but still a lot of people, right? And they had to make sure it's okay for everybody and really good for you, and that everybody got their emails and all this stuff. So they're like running around in the background. So I would love to tell Hay House how much it means to me, my husband for hanging out, and Elizabeth for making sure that I'm coherent, that I'm following along with what I said I was going to do. Okay, so before we pick up our pens, I want to walk you through 7 creative phases of this manifesting process. And if you've been with me before, you will recognize them, but it changes every time you do it. They've always been the heart of what we do here. And when I was writing The Art of Manifesting, I did begin to see them through a whole new lens. That's why this year is going to be a bit different than last year, too. I actually realized we were mapping consciousness, because every mark, every word, every intention you put down on a paper is a dialogue between you and the universe, just like our ancient ancestors did. So the phases that I'm going to show you today are the same foundation I've always taught, but now we're going to understand them more deeply, energetically, spiritually, and even neurologically. And that clarity has completely changed the way I work with them. It's another reason why I really hope you guys are going to buy the book, The Art of Manifesting, because it talks about all the science and the neuroscience behind this as well, how it shifts your brain as well, and how it would really enhance your capacity to actually see results in your manifesting. And people are already blown away by what's happened. And it is freaking me out too, because we don't really understand 1,000% how the quantum field really works, but we do know it talks back to us. We're not talking into a void. It is a reflective organizing principle. It's pretty wild. Okay, so number 1, we are going to talk about something. There's a slide called Activate the Field. And everything starts with spirit, or again, field, quantum field. I love the term spirit. I am a spiritualist. I'm an animist, whatever, but you can put any word you want in there, because science does call it the quantum field. But it really doesn't matter what you call it. But this is where you connect with the unseen forces that shape your reality. So you're awakening your creative awareness, saying, I remember I'm not doing this alone. So when we draw the dot in the center of your board later, that's going to represent spirit, the spark of creation that lives in you. And we are marking that there. And I'm going to show you how to do it when it's time. So next one is choose your frequency. Now, when we talk about the word frequency, that's why I call this kind of art frequency art. We are talking about the broadcast. Now, we're always broadcasting into the field. We are talking about, it's like a radio. We send out to the universe the most repetitive thought, feeling, and belief is a signal that we keep sending. That's why you got to be so careful. I really say too, watch how the internet conditions the way you believe the world is, right? I would say get your agency back, spend less time there, and remember that you can choose your reality in spite of what you see external to you. It's pretty amazing when you can actually see that both can exist at the same time. It's really wild. So the things that we repeat, the stories that we tell, the things that are strong, the things that we're always doing anyway, unconsciously, that's what we're sending, right? And it's going to send us more and more of that, right? It's always going to reflect back, oh, that's important to Colette. Let's just keep giving that to her. So what we want to learn how to do is choose intentionally that frequency, right? So you don't want to be unintentional. You don't want to have lots of, mixed messages. You want to be really aware. What song are you broadcasting? What are you sending to the universe, right? And this is where you decide how you want to feel this year, not just what you want to have. So in past vision boards and that I've taught to, we focus on categories like career, love, health, prosperity, etc. And you can still do that. And I'll show you different boards that I've done. But the evolution here first is choosing the frequency you want to embody. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to jot it down. Do you want to feel free? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel inspired? Do you want to feel loved? Right? Do you want to feel excited about life? Do you want to feel creative? Whatever the emotional vibration that you choose. For me, I want to be in wonder, because I'm seeing this work. I'm in awe all the time, and I want more of that this year. That's an emotional vibration. And that's the frequency signal to the universe. Right? And when we draw later, that intention will become a shape or a symbol on your board. And I know many of you want to get to the drawing part, but it's really important that I teach you all the whys behind we draw before we draw it, okay? So bear with me. So the decoding your desire is phase 3. Now we go into deeper into the why. Why do you want what you think you want? What's the motive behind wanting it? I wish I had learned to ask myself that like back in my 20s and 30s when I chased my music career, because I actually had so many hidden agendas attached to what I thought would be my career success, and I didn't even notice it when I started feeling it and from something else I was doing as I failed miserably at the other thing. It was like pretty wild, but at least I have the story to teach with it though. So the motive behind wanting what you think you want, and it's okay. So if you want to be popular, that's fine. That's nothing wrong with it, but be really clear about why you want what you say you want. Like, maybe you want to feel a certain way, and you have to acknowledge that you think that thing is going to give you that, but you also have to acknowledge, well, maybe something else will come too. So I'm going to add that to the board. We're going to think about that later. Now, what do you think is going to happen when you get it? Are you going to change? Will you feel better about yourself? What are all the things that are attached to the desire? So you just have to keep asking that question until you uncover the emotional truth beneath the form. And maybe it's not the raise itself you want, it's the sense of security. Or maybe, you think, I need a raise because XYZ. And then you're like, well, how do I know that that's going to come from the raise? Like sometimes, like I had this client that really needed more money in this one area, or at least was playing with the idea of manifesting this. This is a number of years ago. And they were like really working super hard. And I said, why don't we stay open to it coming in a different form? And sure enough, they inherited a whole bunch of money from an uncle they didn't even know. And it was just like, holy crap, there it was. Somebody else, actually me, I ended up getting a huge check back from the government because I overpaid my taxes, because I'm always neurotic about paying my bills. And it was like just the amount of money, this was 2 years ago, the exact amount of money that I needed for this thing that I wanted to do. It was, so we think it's going to come from one way, but it could come somewhere else, right? Just remember that. So maybe you don't want a relationship, or maybe in a relationship, you want something more about connection and belonging. So it's, again, you want to know, like, what are the threads that are really important to this desire that I have, or the intention I have to create reality. Now, once you understand the feeling, then you can release the attachment to the outer form, right? Because you want what that thing is representing, right? So therefore, once you get that, and that's why this step is really important. And again, I'm telling you about this today. I'm teaching this to you today. When you sit down and do this, it's important, if you haven't done this, to actually think about this before you actually make your official board. Today's the blueprint board, right? So what's going to magnetize your experience, right? Because remember, that's what you're going to start seeing. The universe is going to send you a reflection of that emotional signal that you rehearse over and over again. I'm always feeling like this, therefore I always see this. Okay, so we want to talk about the shift from wanting to being. So this is about embodying the vision. From imagining to embodying, you start to embody the version of yourself who already has the experience you desire. That's really important. There's a new version of you, right? You have to have a new you. If you were the you now, right, then it doesn't exist for you now. So who would you be when this experience that you've called into being happens, right? You're going to be different. So when you practice gratitude in advance, because this is what we're talking about next, gratitude changes your brain chemistry. Did you know that? Neuroscience calls this neural rehearsal. Your brain does not know the difference between imagining something vividly and living it. So when you rehearse gratitude for it, right? Not so much the thing, but the gratitude of it, you align your entire system with that future reality. And that's what we mean when we say act as if, right? Now, this is the part where energy becomes visible. This is where you draw the vision. You translate what's been happening in your mind and heart into form. And yes, if you are able, this should be done by hand. It's not the same thing if you use Canva or if you use AI or anything like that. It's not going to be the same. This needs you to take a pen in your hand and do it. All right, because when you draw, when you actually take pen to paper, you engage something called your reticular activating system. And it's the part of your brain that tells you what to notice. It's actually kind of like a bouncer at a party, right? So you gave them the guest list, and you might have just been rehearsing fear and like and like division and like, oh my God, the world, boom, boom, boom. It's going to keep showing it to you because nobody else is allowed in the party. But now you're giving a new guest list, right? So that new bouncer is letting new people into the party. So you're literally rewiring your reality through this practice. And that is why I say this is not about being an artist. It's about creating a neurological pathway for manifestation. So I'm going to get sciencey, not so woo-woo here, because woo-woo and science meet together in a vision board, okay? So when we draw the lines and circles, you will be making your vision board a visual dialogue, and it becomes a symbol of what happens between you and the universe. And then we have phase 6, which is trusting the process. And here's where we have to remember manifestation isn't just personal, it is relational. Everything we think, feel, and create is part of a bigger field of consciousness and is reflected back to us from it. So when we set our intentions, when we let them go, our job is just to stay open and curious to see how the universe responds, which tells us the actions that we need to take next. And this is the difference between making something happen and willing it to happen and allowing it to unfold in divine appropriate timing. So instead of saying, and this is what I always said, always on my boards, this or something better now manifests for me in divine appropriate timing. That's the backup plan. Now we say it as a statement of trust. Spirit, I trust your version of my dream, and I will follow your lead. Now, phase 7, and again, this is all what stuff we're going to do together. We illuminate what we've created with gratitude, the frequency that bridges the seen and unseen worlds. So when you feel thankful in advance and you get stupefied in gratitude, your heart and mind come together in something called coherence. And that coherence is what draws the synchronicity to you much quicker. So in our drawing, you're going to see this represented by gratitude bubbles. These are going to be small circles you're going to draw that connect you to the field of potentiality. Each bubble is a visual thank you to the universe and a reminder that creation is already in motion. So all 7 of these phases that I've spoken about now are going to be the foundation of this practice of vision board making. So I'm pretty sure you understand what each phase represents by now. So we're going to bring them to life through the actual drawing process. And now that we understand how this process actually works, energetically and neurologically, we can make it even easier and so much more powerful. So you've heard me say this for years, and you heard me say it in all my classes too. We always begin by placing spirit in the mix. In this case, we place spirit in the center of the board. And then we add the phrase, this or something better. And I love that intention, but we're not going to do that. Because none of us really stop to think about what that statement means, right? And I know that has been on every vision board. And I've also looked it up, and other people teach it, this or something better now manifests for me, blah, blah, blah. And that comes directly from New Thought and back to Unity Church 40 years ago. There's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes when you read it, it goes, wait a sec, I want this thing, but if I can't have it, give me something better. This or something better. But it's kind of a mixed message, right? Because the deeper truth is, Spirit is always giving us something better, but we just don't always recognize it. So instead of leaving that sentence hanging as a just in case, I wanted to create a way to see and honor that part of the process, the part that is invisible, but is the part that is most active, right? Most active. And that's when I began exploring what I first started talking about in the very beginning of the call, the zone of synchronicity. Now, I'm just going to show it to you. I just quickly drew this, and you guys can all see this, right? See the difference? This one had, hang on a sec. This one stops at the border, right? The black border is there, and that's the end of that. This one, notice this, This one has a nice big open space around it where the universe gets to play, right? So I'll get to this in a sec. So our boards have always been full. We fill them with intentions, images, words, affirmations, but we need now to make space for the mystery. Also, because a lot of us have come to a place where we stopped trusting that the universe is going to work on our behalf because we get hijacked and start looking at what's served up to us by algorithms, et cetera. We start looking at the news, or we start looking at, oh, this is reality, when in fact it isn't, right? So we want our attention. We want to bring our attention back. Our attention is such an important currency. Oh my God, it's the most amazing currency that we have. And it is very much part of the function of manifesting, right? Okay, this, beyond our awareness, we need to make the space for beyond what we know. Right? When I look at my old board, this border, the edge is where my imagination stops. Interesting, right? We need to leave space around the border intentionally. So let's, I'm going to move forward here. I think I'd like us to start this because I think you get what I'm talking about, right? Oh, but I got to tell you a story. Wait. Let me tell you a story before we get into it. Okay, so I'll show you, I'm going to show you this. Okay, see this? See this really cool? Okay, I'm going to show you this up close. There we go. Okay, can you see there's like a little house in the middle, and you can see how I did that, and all these big circles and stuff like that and little words around that. But typically what I wanted was actually an office in the city where we could sleep that we would like. And I decided that it had to be in a place called the Beaches. I had my heart set on that one particular building in the area of the city, okay? So I could almost taste it. Every time I thought, this is it, something would fall through. And every place in this particular, and I'll just tell you what it is, because in Toronto, there's a place called the Beaches. This is where we used to live, and I saw water. And I recognized that, you know what, I want to manifest a place by water. I can see it, and I could taste it, I could smell it, I could smell the fish, right? Anyway, and the only place that my imagination allowed me to imagine was this one particular place in Toronto. And we have excellent, there's no reason why we should have been turned down by all these condos. It was so crazy. So I was like, what is going on? But because I know about this, I'm like, oh, the doors are slamming in my face because it's something else, right? So that's when I got very frustrated. I thought, I'm going to draw this, and here's what has to happen, because I was too attached. I'll be honest. I teach this and I recognize, oh crap, I'm too attached. So I'm like, I got to let go. So basically I came to a place where I'm going to draw it, and I'm going to draw how I want to feel. And I also put in neighbors, and I put like little images, I just flowed with it. It's just little lines and circles. So, and I knew that beyond that little square where the place was had to be about what the universe knew. But I also, Mark, stop making noise. But I also knew that I had to let it go altogether. It was like, you know what? Because sometimes the universe just say no. It just says no, or no, not now, or no, not yet. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. So you pick for me. And if it's not for me, I need a billboard. I don't want to waste any more time on this. So we have one more place to look at, and in the Beaches it came up, and I'm like, this is it. Oh my God. So on our way there, and I had said that in the morning, I had finished a drawing the night before. I said, take it away if it's not for me. So they canceled on the way there. But my agent got a phone call that there were 2 units. So I was like, okay, obviously I am not meant to have this at all. So I'm done. But 2 places came up in an area of the city I would never thought of going, because there's construction everywhere. And I'm like, I don't want to go there. She's like, yeah, but it's a nice day. We should go. And yeah, there was water, but construction. I don't want to go anywhere near a place, blah, blah, blah. So in my head, I'm like, I don't want to go. But my husband was with me, and it was a nice day, and we were going to go for lunch after. Okay, what's it going to hurt us? So I had said I wanted a billboard. Well, to make a long story bearable, this drawing came 1,000% true. I walked in. The billboard was very long, 6 numbered address that we have was the code to get, which is so impossible, was the code to get into the first unit, which was absolutely perfect and completely soundproof. And I couldn't hear any construction. And I'm like, oh my God, this is actually really nice. And I would never have come here. But my husband said, let's go to the other one. And I went, no. And look at the universe told us, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the other one. It's 1111. We walk into the other one, much smaller, more humble, more affordable, no construction looking, because it only looked at water and it was small. And I'm like, oh my God. And they accepted us on the spot. So I would never, if Colette got her will and only went to this, only worked in one part of the city, I would never have got this. But I knew that the zone of synchronicity was going to show me something. And I also knew that at the end of that day, that if it hadn't come, I would be okay with it. See what I mean? So this represents all the unseen activity, the energy, timing, and connections moving on your behalf when you do it. So it was so extraordinary how, again, things can be tractor beamed into you so fast with so and meaningful coincidences. And then it turned out that one of my best friends had bought a unit in the building and loved the building. And I hadn't even known this, right? They, out of the blue, they called me. I said, guess where I am? Boom, boom, boom. So it was like, you know what I mean? So when I looked back at it, and by the way, one more thing. So see here, there's a sun. I just doodled the sun. Little happy sun. Maybe you can't see it. Okay, whatever, you can't see it. Anyways, a happy sun here. And I realized that's the east in a map. That's east. And sure enough, it faces east. And I see the sun come up every morning. So when we're in Toronto, this is where we do videos, etc. I'm here at the farm, but it was amazing. And it happened pretty quickly. It took about 6 weeks for this whole thing to happen. So it's what's so important is, and this is what I want you to focus on, is to remember that it is fine for you to put in what you want, what you think you want. Like I was so attached to a place, but when we let go attachment to the form and even the how, and we allow the zone of synchronicity to be the biggest part of the board, that becomes both a practice and a perspective. Is this making sense to everybody? Can I see some hearts if you guys are with me on this? Yes, you're enjoying this. Okay, good. People are enjoying this. Good. Yeah, because it's like, it's a different way to teach this, right? It's not like I'm just going to teach you the art. I want you to understand it, right? So, and this is all I've done since then. And it is, sometimes it's not easy because we really want what we want, how we want it, how it's supposed to look, what time it's supposed to come. That's human. We're going to all bump up against this a little bit. But that becomes also a discipline, a practice, and a perspective. It's like, you know what? I feel so much better when I'm surrendered to spirit and go, you surprise me. And that's actually how I do it now. It's surprise me. Here's what I think I know. Here's what I think I have, right? Here's what I think I'm bringing to the table, right? And you surprise me. And that's why I'm never disappointed, right? Now, this can take time, especially the big things that you want. And I do have tons of stories of things happening very quickly. But ultimately, we have to wait and see, right? And it took me 20 years to manifest something that I put on my board for years, and then I forgot all about it and didn't want it anymore, right? So I really don't want you to think that the universe is Uber Eats, because it isn't. And it's going to deliver something delicious to your doorstep in under an hour, right? It's just not going to happen that way. Because often the really big things we want, we actually really do have to evolve and become the person, the version of ourselves that is comfortable in having the experience that we say we want, right? There's a big transformational piece that you have to participate in. And it's not a way to avoid being present in the world, but it's really helpful for us to acknowledge that we're in this amazing participatory relationship between us and a field of consciousness that knows us and is talking back to us all the time, right? We're not just going, me to the universe. It's we. It's we. It hears us and says, here's the version of that works for you. Now, the other thing that I've learned is no matter how many vision boards we do, the universe is only going to give us not what we want, but what we are. Think about that statement. Wayne Dyer was the first person that I heard say that, like 20 years ago when I first got to Hay House. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest what we are. And that transformation piece, that transformative navigation of life and how we evolve into being a person that we like better, or that has more space for more in our lives, et cetera, that we always knew, but we might need to heal a bit or to shift a little bit. That transformation is the foundational piece I teach in all my programs, like Oracle School, for example. The question is, how do we become that person? So when you do a vision board, remember the big things may take longer because you may not be quite ready for them. And if you're asking the universe to partner with you, it always knows way better than you, okay? Now, here's what's totally amazing. When you draw this by hand, when you use lines, circles, and symbols to represent your intentions, you're not just being creative, you're creating change in your brain. Isn't that wild? And the brain decides, like it's the one that starts saying like, oh, you are this, therefore more of that's going to show up in your life. It's an incredible thing. The very act of simple, intentional drawing and doodling. You do not need to be an artist. It activates what's called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new pathways, right? Each time you pick up the pen and express gratitude, you strengthen those pathways of trust, creativity, and faith. And that's why this process is so effective and why we need it right now. It's forget AI. Let's get a pen and a scratchy piece of paper, right? This is what we need, more human things. You are literally teaching your brain to recognize synchronicity. And this is why we call this intentional art and also frequency art, because it represents the frequency that goes back and forth between us and the universe. And this is what happens when we combine imagination, yay us, neuroscience, also yay us, and spirit. Wow, right? The visible and invisible working together in perfect harmony. And by the way, it always does, including the shitty things that we see in the outer world, right? That's working perfectly. There's some concentrated folks out there that are beaming that out to the universe, and we're seeing it showing up in our feeds and in our lives, etc. The more focused you are on a feeling state and on broadcasting that, the more likely you're going to see its reflection in the outer world within a short period of time. So that's why we focus on the feeling states we want to live in and on building our partnership with the universe through simple, powerful, creative marks. So you're going to see that in the exercise. Yes, we're about to do it. We're going to use basic shapes, wavy frequency lines, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going to just move forward here. So gather what you need now. Sheet of paper, page in your journal is perfect, because remember, this isn't going to be the finished product that you do today. I'm just teaching it to you. You are going to you're going to get to watch this again. Grab some highlighters or colored pencils if you want to add some color. Obviously, you saw that I make color pictures. I'll show you some of the other ones that I've done. There's this one here. So you can see how many I do, right? Anytime I want to focus on something, I make one. That's what I do. And here's one that's just black and white. I haven't finished this one yet. So this is what we're looking for, right? And we make big space. This one's, see the little door? Wow, it's very big space. That's all spirit. This is like, I think I know. This is spirit knows. And I'm going to focus on spirit knowing and surprise me, because I don't know what it is. And it's always wild. Oh, here's another one that I love. Here's this one too. This one was for you. I did this for you guys. So this is the actual vision board challenge. Is all of you in there? Yeah, it's so cool. I did that before we did it. So it's like, okay, how do we want to feel? How does everybody want to feel? So hopefully my intention was that you guys are going to be really happy with what you learned today, and that you'll get to learn something really cool that you can do and also you can do this in a journal. Instead of having these big giant Bristol boards, I have, space in these journals. Okay, so as I said, you don't finish the board today. We're just going to start drawing. Okay, so remember, I think the best thing to do today is to focus just on one thing. And we want to keep it simple. And I, just so you know, by the way, later this spring in early March, I am going to be hosting a virtual Art of Manifesting live weekend workshop. It's a one-day workshop that we're going to take this kind of intentional drawing like much further. It's a deeper immersive experience for people who want to really work with this as an ongoing practice. So I'm going to share more about that when the time's right. So it's not right now, but I just want to let you know that there's more coming about this. So this is your rehearsal for manifesting one feeling and one experience. So again, like in one subject. So choose what it is. And again, I'd like you to take a deep breath and get really comfy. And let's just imagine, we're going to go a really quick little meditation here, that you are in a beautiful garden and you're with your guardian angel. It's so beautiful here. And in front of you is a big, beautiful ball of sparkling light. It sparkles and shimmers. And in that light are all of the feelings that will help ground your intention. The joy, the happiness, the confidence, fulfillment, creativity. The things you're affirming that you may or may not be connected to right now, but these perfect matches, these things exist because you are affirming them. And before anything, you claim them energetically. Now, underneath this beautiful ball of light, you're going to notice two spots, one for one foot and one for the other foot. And you're going to step into this beautiful ball of light and let yourself feel those amazing feelings. And fill yourself with gratitude as this ball of light shimmers and sparkles all around you, bringing energy to you. And I'd like you to repeat this. The universe is the source of my supply. I embody this with joy and gratitude. Spirit is the source of my supply, and I embody this with joy and gratitude. God is the source of my supply, and I embody this with joy and gratitude. And so it is. Or you can say, the quantum field is the source of my supply, and I embody this with joy and gratitude. Or consciousness or source. Just allow yourself to know that this is true. And bring yourself back, knowing that you have a guardian angel that's witnessed you in this rehearsal. Okay, so let's stay in this really zen, calm state. And let me know how you're feeling if by putting up some hearts, since I can't read your posts. Let's see how you're doing. Okay, good. Love it. I love all those little hearts. Okay, so now we are going to create the energetic vision board. Remember, it's not an art project. It doesn't have to be gorgeous. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to begin phase one. This is how we awaken the creative conversation between you and the universe. So I want you to rub your hands together gently until they start to feel warm. Because what we want to do is change what the paper represents. Because right now it's just a little piece of paper in front of you, right? You call it a paper. But we want to we want to wake it up with life force energy so that it represents the field of potential. So this is a symbolic ritual that we do every time we do this art process. Now I want you to go like this, and you'll start to notice a bit of pushback between your hands and maybe even a temperature change. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, reading. Little temperature change. And when you feel it, I want you to kind of hover your hands over your paper. Right? And we are going to say, I activate this field in partnership with Spirit. I create through love, gratitude, divine alignment. And what you've done is initiated the paper. Now the paper is no longer just a piece of paper. It's a living, vital symbol of the field of potential. So I'm going to switch my camera and we're going to start drawing together. I hope I'm doing it right. Ooh, okay, here we go. Oh, that's pretty good. Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
can I bring this further down? I think I can, right? To make it,
The camera?
yeah, I want to make the paper bigger for everybody and I didn't bring that. Maybe I could put this on top of this. No?
Tell me when.
When? That's good. Stop.
Perfect.
Stop. Yes.
Higher?
Nope, perfect. You guys can all see this, right? Yay. Okay, perfect. What I didn't do is bring that dark background. That's fine. Okay, I love that you guys are going like that. Yay, and somebody put, okay, little, I thought they were poops, but they were little fingers going up. Okay, great. See this? Okay, here we are. La. All right, we're going to start. So this, now look at the paper. Do you guys notice if it's, you know, if it looks a bit different? Because every time I do this, I have noticed, I'm going to put my glasses on now. See my nice glasses meets my green. I've noticed that the paper tends to look a little different. It changes a bit of color. It looks like a light source in it, and I've never figured that out, but maybe you have experienced it too. Most people in my classes experience it, but yeah, I never know. So actually, I'm going to take a thicker pen. I'm going to take a brush pen so you guys can see this. All right, so here what we're going to do is we're going to begin drawing. Now remember that the initial dot is going to represent spirit and all the concentrated energy of the potential of the universe you're calling into the board. Everything begins here. So it's a concentrated dot of energy. So I'm going to draw it first, and then I want you to draw it. A lot of you, okay, so we want it to be, there you go, about like that. Draw a dot. Thanks, Elizabeth. You're putting in the chat. Elizabeth is putting in what we're doing here. So once you have your dot, it should be smaller than a dime, an American dime, or a little tiny European penny, I think. I don't know. But anyway, I'd like you to allow your eyes to relax and focus on the paper softly and just stare at the dot. Just stare at your dot and notice what changes. You want a soft focus here. And feel free to share in the chat what's going on for you. Maybe you'll see a bit of a shimmer start around the dot and on the page. Maybe it's a halo, 2 dots, like stuff's gonna happen. And why do we do this? Well, it's to tell your brain something, but it's noticing that your awareness is awakening to what has been unseen up until now, right? We didn't see this before. So the message is that not everything is meant to be seen before it's meant to be seen, right? Like there is lots going on in the invisible world, but we're getting a little taste of it right now. Now we're going to draw a circle around the dot. And I am going to draw it in this. And this represents your relationship with spirit. And this is going to be a circle. A lot of my portals are squares, but we're going to use the circle. And the circle does not need to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. My circle tends to look like potatoes. Okay, there we go. And we're going to draw around it a couple of times. And this circle also means something. So there's the intention, and the circle represents the boundary between energy and form. So what we want to do inside this circle is we want to create something like a little symbol. It could be a heart, a spiral, a cross, a star, something that represents spirit to you. Now, I always draw eyes. That's me. So I am going to draw this as an eye. Oh, usually I have a little white thing. There's my eye. That for me, that represents that spirit is always watching me, or the universe is always participating with me. And then I'm going to make little dots around the eye because I like the way it looks. That's my symbol here. And that's what I'm doing. You guys can draw whatever you like. As a matter of fact, I might draw a heart around this too, because I just love the universe. I love spirit. So here I know that it is benevolent because I am putting out benevolence, right? Because the universe is actually neutral, right? There's no Santa Claus. It's going to give us whatever we rehearse. Right? It's just this. So I'm putting this. Mine is going to be a heart with an eye in it, right? That's like the universe loves me. I love the universe, and that's kind of how I'm playing this. Okay. So everything begins here in the invisible, right? So now we're going to draw a second circle, and it's going to be, I'll show you how to do it, right? This is going to represent you, right? So half in spirit, half outside, right? This is a partnership. I tend to want to draw spirit a little bigger than me, but because I kind of know that I'm very limited in my imagination, but I know that this isn't, but I am not separate from spirit. And that's what when you draw this, you're identifying, I am not separate from spirit, right? But one thing you do know is part of you works in the invisible realm, right? That is not as of yet manifest, but you are already in the material realm. You live there, right? Nobody's ascending anywhere, kids. Like, we literally have come here to work in manifest form, in reality. That's why we're here. We're going to be emissaries of divine will so the spirit can experience itself in material form through us. So we are an intermediary, if you will. And so this is what says that. Part spirit, part human. That makes sense to everybody? See that? And that just reminds us. It just reminds us, right? Yeah, like I'm part of this whole deal here. I'm not separate. Now, what we want to do is we are going to put a border around the circle first, right? So we are going to, and now watch how I do this, alrighty? So what we talked about was to have way more space for spirit, because I definitely know there's certain things I want to manifest, but I also know I don't know, right? There's stuff I don't know, because it's been proven time and time again that I really don't know. The best stuff comes to me in the perfect form. So I am going to do it this way. Now, it's not going to look like there's plenty of space on your board for more things, but, so this is the border. Notice how much space I've left, the zone of synchronicity, right? A lot of space, bingo, right? There's this much. So I'm acknowledging that I'm going to put stuff in there, and we're only going to do one thing today, but you're going to be able to, I'll show you different versions that you can grow into something that you're going to think is cool for you. So this page is now activated, right? So what have we done? This is the field of potential. We put spirit in the center. We acknowledge that there is a threshold that between what is invisible to being visible. That's what's on the other side of that. And we are part of both, spirit and matter, right? We already have that symbolically. And because it's a symbol or an iconic symbol, the brain clocks it as That's what it is, right? It speaks to us. It's a language. It's a symbolic language. And by the way, before spoken language existed, we communicated to each other through drawing, right? We drew in sand and things. If we came from different tribes, for example, didn't speak the same language, we could draw our reality. We could draw who we were. Anyhow, so let's bring our awareness back to your heart, and we'll set your focus for today's creation, and we're going to choose a frequency. Now, remember the frequency we talked about earlier. Now, maybe it's affluence or wealth, maybe it's freedom, maybe it's joy. Whatever word comes up for you right now, I want you to trust it. And like I told you earlier, my word is wonder. So let's take a minute to pick your word or even a phrase, like how you want to feel. And you can grab a notebook or a spare sheet of paper, you can write on it. And we'll go a little deeper. And just ask yourself, why do I want to feel this way? What's the feeling you want to invite in? And then why do you want it? Why do you want to feel like that? But I can tell you this. I know that when I'm in wonder, because remember my word was wonder, I am in such deep gratitude, reverence, and awe. I don't have time to be negative, to be small or jealous or defensive. I am in co-creative bliss. And that's what I want. I don't think about scarcity when I'm in wonder. I'm like, wow, look what just happened. Like, wow, the surprise, right? That's what my choice was for 2026. Because in order for me to be really creative, I need to be in wonder. That's my deeper why. Plus, I want to be free. I want to be liberated to do these things. For me, wonder brings me freedom too. Like, oh, because I trust. I trust that the universe is going to provide, then I'm not worried about whether this is right or wrong or comparing myself to other people, etc. See what I mean? So I want you to think about that. Now, each answer you write reveals another layer. Maybe you wrote, I want to feel free. Why? Because I want to make choices that are right for me, not for somebody else. And why is that? Because I want to trust myself. Aha, the truth underneath the desire. So we want to know, what is the frequency distinct to you? What's unique to you that calls your experiences to you? Like, I don't want to be rehearsing fear. Show me your heart if you don't want to do that either, right? Don't we want something better than that? Yeah, we do. I don't want to rehearse division. I don't want to rehearse any of that. No, get away from me. No, you're not invited to the party anymore. Out you go. All right, I want gratitude because I want to see more reasons to be grateful, and I want to share that gratitude, right? We get to pick that. So the frequency that calls your experiences to you is the one you choose. And remember, you can do this again. Now, I want you to write one short sentence that captures that essence. And don't worry if you can't come up with it right away, because you can do this again. You might want to do it again with something different, but maybe a single line that feels like a declaration of truth. Something like, freedom feels like trust. Love feels like being seen. Peace feels like coming home to myself. For me, wonder feels like being grateful all the time, no matter what. So this is helping you understand what that desire represents at the deepest level. So just take a breath and read your sentence quietly to yourself, and allow yourself to really feel that sentence in your body. If your word was peace, feel that peace in your breath. If it was confidence, feel what would it feel like to be confident? And remember, if you don't have it right now, you can imagine, like, what if this was the true for me, right? It's like acting. Like, act as if. Maybe it was love. Feel it radiating from your heart. And if it was wealth, feel it in the generosity of your outstretched arms. Now, remember, we called this neural rehearsal. It's actually, I didn't call it that. That's what scientists have called it. It's your brain's way of practicing the reality you're stepping into. You're teaching your mind and body what it feels like to already live in this way. Athletes do this. They're trained to do this. They visualize their the game and beforehand. They can see things in advance. The sprinter knows what it's like to hit the finish line. So these are things that are not as woo-woo as we think, and they really work. Now, not on your board. I want you to write maybe 1 or 2 short affirmations that describe it as if it was already true. Like maybe, I am peaceful and guided by grace. Or I'm confident and supported. Or I'm a hot tamale. No, I'm kidding. Well, no, maybe you want to be a hot tamale. I'm open, inspired, and in flow with the universe. I am grateful and in awe of life's miracles. I'm always safely guided and divinely protected. And write whatever words make your heart expand when you read them. And just say a quiet thank you for each one. Okay. As soon as you've done that, we're going to come back to your board. Now we're going to put another circle in there. And I'll show you where it goes. So it's also going to overlap you, right? So this is the feeling state. So this is the you, the feeling state. So we want to make sure that these 3 circles overlap. And trace it like mine is completely kakapooey. See? Not perfect. So remember, this is spirit, threshold, right? Like what we don't know yet, this is what we know and what we want. And this is us, half spirit, half, and this is the feeling. Now, we're not putting any words or anything in there yet. And we're going to put something inside that represents how you want to feel. Maybe V for victory, right? Or maybe it is about affluence or wealth because you're struggling. So maybe you want to put a $sign in there. That's okay too. Whatever sign or symbol that means something to you, I'm going to show you what I'm going to put in here right inside the thing that where everybody's connected. I'm putting a smiley face because I put them in all my drawings because I'm happy and I'm like a little being. There it is there. That's what I like. And I'm also going to put a heart where all 3 things come together, right? I got my little smiley face and I've got a heart. And so when I look at that, I know exactly I am intrinsically connected to everything. This makes me happy. Being in wonder makes me happy. And there is the heart for me, which is, I get it. Everything is together. Okay, I love that you guys are throwing the heart. So I'm going to do something that's actually not in my notes here, but I'm going to I'm I'm going to add something that we didn't do, that I've done in all of my drawings. And that is to take right here where, if you've done this where they've crisscrossed, it's fine if you didn't. But this here was the concentration of my acknowledgement that Spirit's in charge, and that the feeling state, which is over here, is what I am broadcasting, right? So since this is the feeling state and that's there, I'm going to take from any place on this. I like to do it where it's obvious that they all came together. So I'll start here, but you can pretty much do it anywhere as long as it's attached to this circle. I'm going to send out the frequency. Now I'm going to crisscross it through this, and I am going to just take 6 lines, wavy lines, because I'm broadcasting this truth, right? I'm telling the universe, like, see this thing here? I believe this is my rehearsal. I'm doing it. You're helping me do it. I'm telling it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Right now, it looks a bit messy, but there's method to the madness, right? This is what I'm broadcasting. That's the frequency of all of this. Hello, universe. Wavy lines, just wavy lines, and let them go wherever. They're supposed to flow, don't have any resistance. And then you can trace it backwards very gently. The universe is answering you, and it's not going to be exact, right? It's going to be a little bit wonky and a little different, but it's answering though. It says, hey, I hear you. I hear you, and I listen to you. Wow. And then you just kind of trace it. So you're going to have 2 kind of similar lines, and go, the universe is listening to me, and I'm receiving my marching papers that come to me through my intuition and my great ideas and all the things that we never put on the board because we don't think about it. We keep thinking about things or events or having blah, blah, blah. But here we're saying, oh yeah, I'm in a conversation, and you're going to give me great ideas. You're going to show me my next right action, right? Spirits, right? That's really important that we put those in there. And let me know when you've done that by showing me some hearts. Excellent. How much fun are we having? Are we having fun? I think we're having a lot of fun. I love teaching this. I could teach this till the cows come home. And I do have a farm, and there is cows next door, and they are already home. So in other words, I love doing this all the time. Okay, so you got your frequency lines. Remember that? We're talking to spirit. Hello. We're talking to the quantum field. Hello. It's not just inside this thing. We're like, hello, hello, hello. Outside, inside, back and forth. I'm just going to open this up again and see if Elizabeth is talking to me at all. Aim to have the drawing done there. Yes. Oh, that's not happening, Elizabeth. I'll make it fast. Okay. All right. So here we go, right? So we are going to do this and keep going. You guys have this down, right? You understand this. Like, this is the conversation we're having with spirit. So in here is where, and I'll move it along here. So in here, right, we're going to pick a subject, and we'll do it like this one. This was you guys, right? So I picked the subject. So mine was a new way to vision board. It even says so. Vision board. I don't know if you could see this, right? Oh yeah, here we go. And those are all your little faces in there and the little hearts, and you having the greatest time ever. That was you. So, and notice how spirit is all connected, right? There you guys are. So you are going to want to do something similar and choose a spot, and let's do it in the same place where I did that. And you're going to now put down, I want to manifest X, Y, or Z, right? So we know that you're going to have an idea, right? And so let's say you can pick career, relationship, whatever. We will pick a subject. And actually, do I have another one like this? Oh yeah, this is the one that I did for the art of manifesting success. Look at that. Aha. See this? Same thing. That's what I did here. And see, spirit has a plan, right? Right? So this is so you want one area. So I typically like to do them now one at a time instead of one big giant board, because I think it looks super crowded. So just do it one subject at a time. So here we go. So we're going to do this, and you guys are going to go with me. So this is I'm going to use a different brush. This thing, I have so much fun with these pens. So this is, except it's drying. Okay, all you guys, actually no, this is, what am I going to manifest? This is, actually, I think this is for my membership. I think I'm going to do that. And for everybody that's joined today and how excited, and also, yes, that I will, so I'm going to manifest news that from you guys, this is what I'm manifesting, that that you've had real success with this and you're going to tell us. So I'm imagining how I'm going to feel, which is so grateful and so in awe and so fabulous. And maybe it won't come the way I'm saying. Maybe Spirit has a different idea of what should come to match that feeling, but that's what I'm going to start with because that's what I know at the moment. That's what I wish to manifest. So we've got our circle. Now, how do we activate all of this? It's through gratitude. So you're just going to spend now, I'm going to look at the clock, we're going to finish this in 5 minutes, honest to God. So I'm going to put little circles, and these are what's called gratitude bubbles, everywhere in between. And all I'm going to do is say thank you in advance. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It doesn't matter which way you take the bubble, but all you're going to do now is get stupefied in gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is really important. And you notice how it starts to look like a cell. You'll see once I'm done with this. There you go. We're going to go here, go here, go here. Whoopee. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. All righty. Let's do this. Now I'm going to show it to you a little up close. See what happens? Isn't it interesting? You know, under a microscope, that's what looks like a cellular thing. So the brain is actually looking at that too, going like, oh, that thing's alive. That's a living intention there. Ooh, that's fabulous. Now I am going to notice that in here is what I know. I'm just going to write this because this is not going to be my board. It's like what I know, right? So what I know here, I will add, because what I thought, what I think is what I think I want, right? Or what I'm intending to experience would be here. But this part here that's crisscross, this is the zone of synchronicity, right? This is the zone of synchronicity, which means this part, our part, I don't know. I don't know what's in here. I don't know what's here either, right? This I don't know. Like anything that's there, it's like all bets are off. That's right. That's spirit. That's spirit's territory. That's the universe's territory. And I want that to crisscross because I want what's better than what I asked for. I want that. I'm happy that it's not going to be what I say. Like, give it to me the way it's the best for everyone, right? That's really, really important. Now, you might want to put words in there, right? So I might say, great gratitude, love, reciprocity, success. You know, that's enough, right? Happy people. Happy people. And I know I will fill this up just like this one. Yay, with happy. I've got somebody sticking their tongue out. Isn't that cute? Again, right? These like happy faces. Happy faces. Here's this one too. Happy faces. We change lives, right? This is it. Happy faces. People love it. That's what I put in there. Why not? Right? And if that's not for me, something better, right? Spirit's going to give me what's right for me and what's right. So you get that, right? When you guys are going to do this. So now that is the thing that you're going to focus on. And so I want you to imagine, like, you've set a frequency from this now, right? Like, how great is this? You've got the frequency coming from here. You've already stated like, hey, universe, I'm really I'm part of this whole thing. This is the feeling state that I want, that I'm intending to experience. We know it's not going to be all the time, but we know that that's for the most part of the time. You want more time in that state of being than in fear or in lack or in any of that. None of it's going to be perfect. But we want more experience, more percentage of the time in the gratitude zone, right? So now what we want to do is, you've got your center, spirit in you, you're feeling, you got your border and the zone of synchronicity, but it's not done. So we've now got the frequency lines too. We've got those, and these connector lines. Remember, this is a relationship. We know it's a relationship. And now that we've done that, we want to add the intelligence of the universe, because we want to say thank you, not just for what's in there. Like, you might put different things that you're grateful for inside there, but we want the universe. So I'm like, I've got these surprise me, like these big giant circles out here. Thank you, universe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you'll fill up yours with, like, I want the universe to come up with some great things on my behalf, and I'm surrendering that. That's part of the board. All the things that I can't possibly know right now, that I don't know I know, that haven't arrived through the synchronicity of receptivity either, like, which through our intuition. That's the other thing. That's part of the frequency line. We're going to get really great ideas, but we don't have them yet. So I'm saying thank you in advance, like super grateful, grateful, grateful. And we end up filling up the board. So the zone of synchronicity becomes, you'll start to notice, really full, and you'll put surprise me, or you'll put whatever you want, like spirit has a plan. I think I did that in one of these. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's a good one. So 2026, so much better. So here's this one. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, wow, wow. Divine will, thank you. Big surprise, right? I just wanted to show you this. So then I did a pomegranate here, which is things are hidden from me. But I know what I think I know. Spirit is a plan. See that? Like in here, it's all obvious. And all these circles in there are my gratitude circles that I follow along through those lines. And you can you can make it pretty, you can make it weird. You can fill it in with words like I've done. On this one, this was the one that I did for 2026. Mark and I did one. And why I put a pomegranate here is like, it's rich and juicy creative life, right? Rich and juicy creative life. Thank you, right? That's like a really, and that in wonder is I discover it. It means that it's, because when you look at a pomegranate, a lot of them are underneath the little juicy things. But that was what I chose. You can choose whatever you like. See that? Everybody get what we're doing here now? And you can make it and it doesn't have to be gorgeous, right? Like, it does not have to be. It just needs to be meaningful. When you look at it, your eye goes to it, you know what it all means. That's what's most important than how pretty it is, for example. Because this is a technology, it's not art. I mean, it's art as technology. But, remember our earliest ancestors, they chiseled into rocks and made chalk markets inside of caves to manifest in partnership with what they believed was a reality that was bigger than them, which it is, but they're part of. Everybody knew that there was a relationship of reciprocity between us and nature and the outer world. So see how this works? This is the most powerful technology that we have, called gratitude. And you keep going and going and going in the little circles, etc. And remember that what's behind the scenes is the engine of what makes this all happen. So the more gratitude bubbles, what time is it? Oh, okay. I'm just going to take 1 more minute to do more gratitude bubbles so you'll see what they are. So I'll make bigger ones here. So I'm just going to say thank you. You need a good, say, 5 solid minutes on your own, because doing it on your own is really profound when nobody's going to bother you. Put some nice meditation music on and do this. And I'm going to show you what it ends up looking like. Mine is very sloppy because I'm teaching it to you. But see what's happening here? Right? These are the gratitude bubbles. And then you follow along here too, right? So I've got them here, and you take them, and wherever you feel like, oh, I'm putting them there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's when it does start to look quite beautiful. And you just follow along, and all you say is thank you. That's the exercise. You imagine that you already are rehearsing that this thing has already happened. So you're just saying thank you now, and you're drawing all these thank you lines. thank you circles, sorry, these gratitude circles. And then you can make little suns, or you could put apples, or you could put faces, or you could put, little stars. And you can use glitter. You can use metallic pens. You can use whatever you like. I always like to brighten up the frequency lines, because I have to have a reminder that I am not the boss, that it's a that I'm in a partnership, right? That I'm part of something. So I will follow the frequency lines. Oh, you can't even really see that, can you? That's too bad. You see that, the yellow highlighter? So I will go over the frequency lines just to say, okay, yep. This bright yellow marker, I've done, all those other things that I showed you were all done with highlighters. That's how I colored them. You can buy them on Amazon. Oh my God, so many art supplies at my house. I don't need any more. Mark reminds me I don't need any more. See what I mean? So it kind of like light brightens up that. It's like it kind of electrifies it. Or you can thicken the lines like I did here with this one. See, I ended up making them thicker. We can go over them afterwards, and it really becomes a labor of love. I take a few hours to do these things, and I like to, as I said, stick with one thing and a feeling state. Or let's say, for example, one page is career, one page is relationship, one page is, and that way you can keep it in a book. Now, I recommend, if you guys are going to take it seriously, I really recommend, it's called A4. So this is my favorite, is mixed media, slightly grained, and it's an A4, and you can, I've got a bunch of these now, and I add to it, and it's a little bigger, and so it gives you lots of room. Like here's another one I did, which I haven't finished. You just lots of room, and you just add to it. You don't have to do it all in one shot. You just want to make sure that you feel, and then when your mind starts to wander, it'll go like a puppy somewhere, and you got to bring it back. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Right? How are we doing, you guys? Let's see some hearts. Obviously, I'm making you say hearts. We understand it, right? It's a really phenomenal, and I'm going to tell you something. Okay, let me tell you a fast story, and then we'll talk about something else now. So I'm going to tell you about something that actually happened. And so when the book came out, The Art of Manifesting, and I decided that I was going to, and we actually put a section in the book about this vision board thing, which is why you should get the book. I'll put this right here. And so I was in my hot tub, and I thought about, I've never wanted a New York Times bestseller because my work has been very metaphysical and typically doesn't, that people like me don't get those. But a lot of my friends have had them, and I've noticed, I said to myself, the art of manifesting, this kind of thing, it matches spirit plus science plus everything. This has a shot. So I decided that I was going to tell the universe, yes, I would like to have a New York Times bestseller. So I put New York Times. Is this the one? No, this isn't the one. Okay, whatever. This is still pretty. New York Times, I put it in a drawing. And I called Elizabeth, who's here, and said to her, guess what I did? I put New York Times down, and she laughed as I laughed, because what are the chances? Who knew? The book just came out. And so maybe in 2 years it would happen. I don't know, and I'm not attached to it anyway, but we both had a good laugh. And then 2 hours later, I get an email from I can switch to face camera now. Oh, that's not the right camera. Face camera. Oh, the camera. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, wait a sec. I know what I'm doing now. Let me tell you. Okay, wait, face camera. That's right. You could. Cam link. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Wee. Okay, here I am. Wee. Okay, so listen to this. So 2 hours later, I get at 11 o'clock, and that was 11:11 when I contacted Elizabeth. So I get an email inviting me to go to the New York Times, okay, to teach at the New York Times for their Healthy Times program, the book. I mean, in 2 hours. And of course I went there, and it was like a few weeks later, I flew to New York, and I met with them. They were so nice to me. And of course, the first thing I did was, I manifested you. But I didn't get a New York Times bestseller. Okay, so people would say, well, you didn't really manifest it because that's not what you asked for. But that was what was best for me, right? That I were to go there, because the desire behind the New York Times bestseller was so that I could reach more people and really change lives. And I happen to put the New York Times there. So instead of it being a New York Times bestseller, maybe there'll be 20 employees of the New York Times that show up, and I'm going to teach them how to do this, right? So it's the coolest thing. And I'm like, wow. And he even said, well, I had your book on my desk and I reached out to you. I thought that this was interesting and I sent an email to your publicist and here we are. So the universe answered me in the way it was meant for me. See what I'm getting at, you guys? I'm not at all disappointed. It was like a complete sign. And plus I got a good story to tell, which was true, right? So feel free to share your stories. Anyway, so what I really want to talk to you about, like is that we know this works, right? And obviously those are pretty wild stories, and many of you already have stories. So you've seen how to do this now, right? And again, you don't have to know the exact choreography that's happening on your behalf, but we know that there is divine choreography happening outside of the border of your board. Right? You're going to make those big circles and you can draw little gratitude circles around them. You just keep saying, thank you. Wow. Right? And remember, this is just a practice session for you. Now, you have everything that you need to make a vision board that's alive and that works. And it's going to be something you created with your own hands, infused with intention, clarity, and your partnership with the universe. And I bet it looks like nothing like any vision board you ever made in the past, unless you did it with me last year, in which case you did a version of this. But what's important is that you understand what it represents. And this is very special to you. And that it's the feelings you're calling in this year. And you're acknowledging in a big way the relationship that you have with the conscious universe. Now remember, this is just a start. The real magic of today doesn't happen while we're drawing. It happens in the days after, when you revisit this energy, when you stay in conversation with the universe, with spirit, with whatever, right? It's when you're in that conversation, you keep acknowledging that conversation is real. And you keep showing up for the version of you that this vision represents. Now, listen, I could have gone there and they may have decided I was too weird for that, right? But the point is that the next right action is always we're invited into the next right action, right? We are always participating in this. Now, remember, if we're being honest, most of us don't stay in this energy on our own, right? It can be so hard to stay in alignment when you make vision boards, right? Then you get off track and you go and you start staying online too much and deciding that that's your reality again. And we all do it, But I created something to help with this. And no, it's not thousands of dollars, it's $22. I've got something I want to tell you about. It's not a course, it's not a one and done program, but it is something designed to weave this work into your life and to keep doing this with me. And to keep your vision alive, keep you connected to the version of you you're becoming. And I'm going to tell you what it is because you're probably asking, what the hell is she talking about? So I have a space where we get to keep doing this together. And it's my most favorite space on the internet. It's called the Oracle Circle. And I created it to give you a place where this work can continue that's really inexpensive, but it's safe and friendly, and there are no shenanigans in there. And everybody's there for the same reason. I'm going to tell you, I have the nicest, most amazing humans in the Oracle Circle. Like, I swear to God, I love these people and it's my favorite thing to do. And, and it really is wonderful. And I'm sure there's a bunch of people in here. I'd love you to acknowledge you and tell everybody, what it's like. But, I used to say I was allergic to groups years ago, but I tried doing life by myself and it didn't work, right? Now, I just celebrated 40 years of sobriety. Most of you know this, right? And I needed recovery groups. I needed to be in a group. And because that helped me so much, I realized that now these are really, really important things to say. Safe, open-minded, loving community is essential, especially as we practice a new version of ourselves, right? For me, everything changed when I surrounded myself with people who were on the same path. Right? Who understood what it meant to walk with spirit, not just talk about it once a year. So the Oracle Circle is a space where the path stays open no matter what's happening around you. No matter what's happening out there, we know there's hope, there's faith, and there's real evidence that we're in a miracle zone and a place where we meet the universe and its miracles again, in the everyday, even when things are shitty, right? We know that this too shall pass, and we know that miracles don't go away, and we know that the universe doesn't ignore us. We know that this is something that's ongoing, and it's a relationship that we can develop. So I love that you guys are in here. And again, the Oracle Circle is amazing. People have been with us since the very beginning, 6.5 years. They haven't left, and they don't stay just for the content. They stay because we grow together, obviously because it's also inexpensive. But listen, we're doing something new this year. And for the people who are in the program, they already know this, but you might not know this. So 4 times a year, once each season, this year, we are going to start doing the Art of Manifesting drawing session. So, and we want to keep this vision board of yours alive by still working with it all year, right? So we're going to have these special drawings. We want to keep this alive, especially when you slide off. As we know, we can just drift away or kind of fade away. And it's like kind of like a spiritual tuning instrument. Every season you come back, you draw, you retune your frequency so your vision, again, doesn't fade away. You're still in sync with it because it is very easy to forget. Anyway, the Oracle Circle really is celebratory, supports who you're becoming. Bless you, Mark. And my husband is not allergic to it. But if you stay in this space with me for a year, I can promise you this. I promise you this. You will not be the same person next New Year's. You won't be. You will look back and see a trail of drawings, journals, synchronicities, proof of your journey that when you set an intention to manifest, you see evidence that Spirit was listening and responding to you and reflecting back to you the whole time. And you were never alone. So instead of this board being something you forgot in a closet, you made it a living practice. So yes, when you join today, and I hope you do, you're going to get the replay of this workshop for the whole year. Now, that's the only way you get unlimited access to it. But more than that, you get to be with me this Thursday. So we are having our very first live seasonal drawing session of the year. And I'm going to take and help you take what you started today and tune it to where you are right now so that you've got that beautiful bridge between the unseen and the seen. It's magical, it's different, and it builds on everything that we opened today. And then next week, we welcome you in properly. You meet our membership mavens on our new member welcome call. And I will be doing New Year's readings for as many of you as I can. It's like a mini spirit jam just for new people. And by the way, probably like, what the hell is spirit jam? They happen twice a month in the circle. They're live. I do readings twice a month for 90 minutes. And everything from mediumship to coaching, your business. I might talk to your dead grandmother, and then I switch to talk about your business, right? It's just kind of wild. And we never know it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Anything goes on Spirit Jam. Now, listen, this is not about the features and all the stuff that we offer you. It is quite a smorgasbord, and you don't have to do everything. You pick what you like, leave the rest. But it's about who you become when you show up for yourself inside a container that's designed to lovingly hold you as you grow. And like I said, we are the friendliest place on the internet. Anyway, we will put the link in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, you can visit the page from the dashboard. And I know some of you might be thinking, am I really going to show up? Do I have time for another thing? Is this worth it? Well, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to come to every single live call to benefit. Even one call a month can reignite that spark for that enthusiasm for your life. Replays are always there inside the portal. You can do things your own timing, and you can cancel at any time. There's no weird hoops and there's no contract. You always have a choice. You can say, I love this, but I'm going now. Or I love this and I'm staying. Whatever it is, we're just very, I guess I could say we're very open and friendly, and we just really want this to work for you because there's a lot of BS out there, and this is no BS. That's how I can call it. Anyway, what I know, next year, January 2027, look back, you can track how Spirit walked with you through the year, and maybe you may even made a new friend, right? Wouldn't that be nice? So listen, if you feel pulled to join us, even if it's just to try it out for this month, here's what I want you to do next. Go to the enrollment page. Sign up, then check your email for your login details about the info for Thursday's call and the new member welcome call. And mark your calendar for our live seasonal, everything is live, by the way. So those calls are live. Spirit Jam is always live. You get a lot for $22. Anyway, we have the new member welcome call. And as I said, we'll be doing readings. And if it's too short of notice and you can't join the calls, we do have something we talk a lot about in the Oracle Circle, especially for the readings. They're called cledons. And a lot of people go to the recordings, and they just put their finger on a timestamp and get a reading that way. And it's amazing, like the responses we've been getting back, because a cledon is an innocent oracle. So an oracle that you overhear delivered to somebody else is actually yours too. Those divinely timed messages that arrive exactly when you need them. So our members will be the first to say this. The replays are phenomenal. They deliver those innocent oracles just as powerfully as the live calls. And there's always a message for you in there. This is more about navigating your life, right? So this is about helping you take the next step or feeling supportive. Sometimes you don't feel like you are, and then all of a sudden you get this zing, this God shot. And whether you join live or you catch the replay later, you are still in the zone of synchronicity with us. And Spirit knows how to find you, right? That's the thing. We always are found by Spirit when we need to. So I'd absolutely love to walk with you in the Oracle Circle this year and to watch how your life unfolds when you stay in this partnership with the universe. So before we move on, I want to leave you with one thought. Remember, your drawing today is not a wish. It's a declaration. It's a signal to Spirit, to the universe. And when you stay in relationship with that frequency, anything is possible. Okay. While you're signing up, I'm going to read some of these comments, or I'm going to get them to send me some of the comments. Oh, actually, I can open up another computer and read your comments. Hang on one sec. I need water. All right, let me see. I'm going to read some. Oh, actually, Elizabeth, can you send me some of the comments or somebody else? I've got my other computer now. Hello. Okie dokie. All righty. Okay, there we go. Oh, perfect. You're responding to people. So I'm going to log in. Oh, actually, I can't see them. Poop. Actually, Kristen Cock, are you there? Can you give me well, you know what? Okay. Who can send me? There it is. Oh, there was a really good one. There you are. Love to get some of the comments. Yes. Kristen, can you give me a screenshot? I can't. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to blow it up over there. This is technology. Here we go. Oh, and now I can see you. There we are. Okay, what time is Thursday? I'm not sure. You know what, Elizabeth? Oh my God, it's going too fast to read your comments. How about awesome? Okay, never mind. You guys are talking so fast. I can't read it. Okay, never mind. Well, anyway, there's a lot of you in here. I love it. Okay, so listen, we're going to have a couple minutes for questions. Now, if we have any volunteers that want to come up and share their drawings, or if you have any questions or any experience that you had, my team's going to respond to you, obviously. But if you want to come up on camera with me, we have some time. You have a few minutes, right? Yeah. It's so fast. I know, Kristen, don't worry about it. It's too fast. I know we can't see it. Right. So just so you know, when you are done your video, oh, here's a person on camera. Okay, here we go. Hi. Hello. Hi. You have to unmute
Hi.
yourself.
Hi.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Okay. Hi. Good. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
So, I've already done my homework. I have about 9 goals I'd like to manifest for the year.
Perfect.
So I have questions, and I've done the handwriting and the feeling states, etc. Um, Instead of doing 9 different drawings, can I group a couple of goals? Like if I want,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
great.
because typically they overlap, right?
Yes.
So anyway, they overlap anyway. So this was, I can show you one that was an overlapping one. Oh yeah, this one here. So this was a full one. This one here,
Uh-huh.
this one has all the things in one. So this one had a trip to Europe, it had the new apartment, it had basically everything in one drawing, and then I did different ones when I wanted to add more stuff. But yeah, this is like one drawing with all the things in it,
And that's
right?
still
So,
okay to do?
oh yeah, yeah, totally it is. Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys options. Yeah, totally
Okay,
okay. Oh yeah,
great,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I've got all my tools ready and I was just
Isn't it
waiting
fun?
for, yes, I was just waiting for today to, because if I learn new things, I didn't want to have to redo the whole process.
Yeah, totally. You can do it and you can do, yeah, like I did one for everything and
Hmm.
Mark and I did one. Then
Hmm.
Mark and I did one. And then because I like doing it so much because it gets rid of anxiety, right?
Hmm.
It really tunes out your anxiety altogether when you do it. So I just do them like every couple days lately because I have the art of manifesting, right? So then I won't do it. But when you finish your vision board too, you put it where you can see it. I have mine like on a wall, like when I go home, I have it and I see them all and I just feel good. I just like, oh, that feels so good because I've given it to spirit. Or you can also put them away in like a little, like inside like one of these things and you open it when you feel like opening it. Like one of them, this one, there was so many things on this one. This was from last year.
Hmm.
I did it January 2020. We did it December 2024. Unbelievable. I put things in there that I forgot I put, and they all happened. I'm like, wow, I completely forgot I put it in there.
So if we do everything, we just make sure we have spirit, myself, and then the third circle, which is the feeling for me, that would also be awe, wonderment, and
Yeah.
amazement.
And then you
And does
could
that,
put the actual things in there, like what represents it, you know, the business or the maybe you put things in about actual events or experiences that you want to have because ultimately at the end of the day it's an experience you want to have, right?
so for those three primary circles, I can still have my 9 goals
Yeah,
border.
totally. Why
It's
not?
so I can merge last year with this year.
Totally. And you can put it inside. Remember to put it in, but remember the big circles in the zone of synchronicity because spirit's going to act on your behalf. Got
And
it?
then, okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. We have one more person. I see another person up in the corner. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing amazing. This has been so fun.
It's
I'm an artist,
interesting, right?
but I've never done a vision board, really even any vision board. So this is a new
Cool.
experience for me. So I'm excited to express it. So you said
Yeah.
to show, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
let's
I mean,
see.
it's just the beginning.
Oh, I love
So
it.
prompting of you. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I love that you actually put in some of those spirals too, like I had on my board. That's fantastic. I
I
love
love
it.
the spirals in your
Right?
boards. You're very inspiring. So I appreciate that.
And
Yes.
spirals, remember when we do a spiral, we're asking for it to expand. So in my book, The Art of Manifesting, it talks about the different, just how the brain knows what certain symbols mean right away when you put it in. So you know, like, oh, I'm asking for expansion, right? So you can
Nice.
put it, yeah.
And I was like, when you were saying put a symbol, like, well, I was trying to like, my focus was prosperity, but I'm like the money sign. I'm like, dude, that doesn't really feel good to me. And so like, I made the expansion, could try to show expansion
Right, the
in that. I'm like,
spiral.
okay, so spiral is the what you'd recommend.
So I sometimes put, this is a good one for you guys to know. So the dollar signs for me don't do it for me either, but it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with money, but I need to know that it's nourishing for myself and others. So I'll put an apple, right? I'll put an apple because the money needs to nourish me and my family, but also others. Right. So it's like right away, it's like, ooh, I'm feeding. This is something that's healthy, not right for me and for others. So you can put something because people do want more wealth. I mean, like, let's acknowledge that's true, but maybe you'll put something beside it or inside around it that makes it feel like a little bit more symbolic of what you want it to become.
And do you keep that, you go in that meditation, do you keep that focus, trying to put that energy in your hands as you're saying your thank yous and as you're
Yeah. So
creating?
here's a really good tip, you guys, and I think then we're gonna have to go. Ooh, oh shoot, I think we're gonna have to go. Are we have to go? No, we still have
Thank you.
time. Okay, I just want to give you guys one last thing to think about. Okay, so thank you, darling. And this is for everybody. So if you are kind of confused some days when you go at it and you go like, oh, I don't know what to think about. I don't know how to tune back into my feeling. I'm pissed off at my husband or whatever, right? What you want to do is sit down and go, okay, I'm going to remember a moment where I was in gratitude and awe at the same time. So for mothers, typically when you set eyes on your first baby and smelled them, that's that feeling of like, oh my God, what is possible, right? Or maybe you love nature and maybe you saw a deer, right? And you're like, oh, like that kind of, you didn't make it happen. You're in complete gratitude and awe. So remember, you have a sense memory of that. So for me, it's when I first saw Bazoo's little face and smelled her little puppy head and her breath. And I'm like, I remember that. So, and I'm like, oh, because I had lost a dog that, that really broke my heart. And so there she was. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I feel like this. So you've had it before. And then what you do is remember that and go, oh, this feeling. And then you just say thank you. And you just keep feeling that feeling. So you're not stressing out about, I'm not feeling the feeling I said I was supposed to feel this year. Does that make sense to everybody? Let's see some hearts if you understand that. Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, well, we are done today. Oh my God, thank you so much for being here and being part of this New Way to Vision Board. I hope to see all of you in the Oracle Circle this year and those coming back to the Oracle Circle. And if not, I love you all, and I'm sure I'm going to see you at some of the other things that we do. Just know that you are not alone. Your dreams matter. You matter. And the universe is always, always responding to you. Just learning the language and understanding that you have a part to play, but you have a partner, and that partner never deserts you. All right. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.